Salutations! Welcome to the conversation. I am your host, the Queen of Shade, and I would like to formally, cordially, gleefully, and joyfully welcome you to One-on-One with the Queen of Shade Season 2. There are going to be a lot of surprises in this season. You're going to see a lot of familiar faces that have been here before, and some new ones, and it's going to be an amazing journey of discovery. Remember, these are not interviews. These are inner views. Let us see what your soul looks like. So pull up a chair and don't forget to comment, like, share, and most of all, subscribe. To follow the show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Queen of Shade, and you can follow the show there. There's also a podcast version of the show, but that hasn't come all the way out yet. I did a soft launch, but that will be coming out too. Season 1 was absolutely crazy. There are 253 episodes of Season 1. Yes, I was running off of pure adrenaline, pure spirit, pure excitement, and we got that done. So you can expect Season 2 to be just as magnanimous and crazy and explosive. There will be some great conversations that you will be able to take things away from and apply to your natural life. 253 episodes. Let's see what we do for Season 2. I love all of you and thank you for supporting, watching, commenting, liking, sharing, because baby, we're on this journey together. We're not on here alone. I'm not on here alone. My guests are not on here alone. You're right along with us. So once again, welcome to the conversation. Now let's get to the conversation. You fall. The Queen of Shade. I'm not the only one. 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 I'm gonna get you, boy. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. I'm gonna get you, boy. Mister, how's your wife and kids? Do they know you like to handle this? I say, mister, why punish your son? 'Cause his daddy likes my kind of fun. And at night you always call my phone. You're always asking if I'm all alone. And when I tell you that I need your love, you come running just to feel me up. Joe Adorno. Salutations, Queen of Shade here, coming to you with another special presentation. We are into Season 2 of One-on-One with the Queen of Shade, and we are so elated to be here. Season 1 was an absolutely amazing opportunity, and I managed to speak to 253 people around the world. They were different, this and that and the other, and it was a really great experience. So we decided again to do it, another season, and I can't wait to get into today because I have someone special that you need to meet. This man is one of my dear friends whom I have met offline. We had an amazing time, and he does amazing things in his community and in the world. And he's been here before, but we are so honored to have him back a second time. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to One-on-One with the Queen of Shade for their second time, Mr. Joe Adorno.
How are you doing?
How are you?
I can't come. I can, but who cares? I mean, it's I'm here. I'm here. So
I want to talk to you about that because when you say like I'm here and there's so much going on, I'm going to jump right into this conversation. The reason you feel that way is because you do so much in the community. You work with children, and not just work with children, but you literally help place at-risk children into safer positions in life and safer situations. And you and I have spoken, but that's hard work, Joe. That's hard work.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. Thank you. I'm sorry. And yes, for those of you out there, myself and the Queen of Shade met in Philadelphia last December, and we went to Sky High. Was it? It was. Oh my God! It was on like the 65th floor, I think, and I'm afraid of heights. So it's a glass elevator, and I feel like I was holding on to my friend the whole time, freaking out. But then once we got to the top, I'm like, oh, I'm good. And it was gorgeous. The view was amazing, but that elevator, no.
Let me tell you, when you come back to Philadelphia, we are not going there again.
It was wonderful, though.
It was beautiful. You know what was so funny? It was beautiful, but it should have been like on the third floor. It should have been on the third floor. That thing was the highest building.
We were above Liberty too. It was amazing. Yes, it was gorgeous.
I looked it up. It was the Comcast building. It was the highest building in Center City. So it was at the very top. And yes, it looked like an atrium. It was so beautiful. You could see, even for me, I lived here. You're from here and then you moved, but found love and life somewhere else. But like literally, I have been here. And I never had that kind of view of my city.
So one of my guilty pleasures is I love a rooftop bar or restaurant. So whenever I travel to another city or a country, one of the first things I Google is like the best view in the city. Where's the rooftop? So I love a rooftop bar. That is like my first go-to thing. So if anybody's looking out there to impress me, take me to a rooftop bar.
Yes! No, because I was going to say, Joe, I had never seen my city like that.
It was gorgeous. Almost a 365 view.
You could see for multi-miles, and I'm like, but you know what I love that it did? It changed my perspective because it also allowed me to realize, life looks one way when you're always on the ground. And some of us, even that experience I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that experience. I'm going to try not to cry because I was telling my grandmother about it and regaling. No, when we hung out. Yes, because when we hung out, because we went to Reading Terminal first. That was on the ground. I was like, we had the traditional cheesesteak situation. But then you were like, no, I want to take you somewhere. So my thing was, I said, okay, he's coming here. Let's go to Reading. It's a cool place. It's lots of different choices of food. We can sit and talk. We did that, but as we got to talking, and it was so funny, you realized that the conversation that we were having needed to be in a more secluded area. Because every time we looked up, people, old Ukrainian women were like looking in our mouths. And you were like, no, we need to go somewhere where we can have this conversation. And we did that. And it was, Joe, you showed me a good time in my own city. And it was, it is like literally, it's one of the best experiences I've ever had in my city.
It was wonderful.
Lie to you not, because I don't even get downtown. I live in the Northeast. I haven't been downtown in like a year. Like it's been
Cotman and Roosevelt. Right?
Yeah, I'm past Cotman, I'm past Ron somewhere. I'm not gonna tell him where. Yeah, you come up here, you're gonna have to deal with all my neighbors' pit bulls. But anyway, that's just a whole other thing. But no, I'm so far away. So. And then to see, and then to go downtown and see how it's growing. and
Mm.
changing and evolving. I was like, wow, like, because I used to live down there. And that was the
Mm.
craziest thing. I lived down there back in 2007, 2008, and 2009. I lived on South Street, well, right off of South Street. I was on Cater.
Nice.
You literally could walk right there. And it was changing then, but like, it wasn't like it is now. Like, you can tell that I don't want to say, I don't want to offend anyone, but you can see that the hipsters have moved in and they're erecting businesses. It's like the younger professional has moved in.
Cool.
And now the
Mm.
city is building buildings and apartments and condos to accommodate this younger hipster kind of vibe. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It really
It
is.
was.
And you're a hipster too, you know. You're nice and young, 30 years old. I'm 27, you know.
That's
42! And he's 13. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, but I want to say this too. You have such, you know, when people see us here, they don't really know how we are in person. You were exactly this. The beauty, the knowledge, the skill. I'm trying not to cry because literally you said something to me when we were up there that shaped the trajectory of my business. I'm trying not to cry. You said to me when we were discussing business, you said, when you build the foundation right, your business will go. And I know that I built my foundation right. But you said, when you build on a shoddy foundation, it doesn't matter if it's year 5 or year 20, it will fall. And I did not forget that because I told my grandmother and I thanked her because I was like, you made me do it right. You made me get every license from this stupid city. You made me get everything, like literally pay taxes the right way. Keep an anecdotal, write off everything. Like I literally, my grandmother and my accountant, they really have been taking care of me and helping me to really be the entrepreneur that I dreamed to be. Because see, I'm an entrepreneur right now, but I dream to be larger. I dream to take this abroad. That is my number one dream. Like my wish
Cool.
is to expand. And see, when I say expand, I don't mean in another city. I mean internationally. You know me.
Cool.
I am an international girl. My passport came yesterday. I'm like, you can't keep me here now. You can't keep me here. And you like that. And then get this. We were sitting there and I was because I told my nephew about this. I was like, in those spaces, you never realize who's around you. Now, mind you, it was the middle of the day. Let's first go there. So the people that could afford to not be at work in the middle of the day were around us, drinking those $45 drinks. Cause you got me 2 45 virgin drinks. They were $45.
It was a little pricey there. But it was gorgeous.
Oh, and see, you're like the experience, but I want them to understand when someone elevates your consciousness. Like you did that for me. So get this, what I was saying was, while we were waiting for our table, we were at this bar and we're buying these expensive virgin drinks, and you guys were drinking, but I was having virgin in mine.
I was drinking.
So I don't want to talk about how much yours was with the actual alcohol in it. But we're not gonna go there. But to my left, there was a young woman talking to another woman. And she was like, oh, like I could hear her conversation. She was like, oh, he works. He's in his 70s now. He doesn't really have to work. So I'm like, okay, this is just normal rich, conversation. He's an entrepreneur. He's a venture capitalist. He's doing something. And then the friend goes, well, what does he do? And she says, oh, well, he has those Grand Theft Auto games.
Good for him. Good for him. I missed that whole conversation. I would have been like, hi, how's it going?
No! Immediately, I was like, I'm in the room. I'm in the room. Because see, even when I was in fashion as a youngster, 22, they taught us about degrees of separation. I was one person from Grand Theft Auto Maker.
That's
like
funny.
She was there. You get it? Like that's why it was such a paramount experience for me. And then there was all these other men that looked like they were from Monte Carlo somewhere, drinking that dark liquor and cognacs and stuff, and their suits and shit, reading the paper. I wasn't too much worried about them. I wasn't looking for no sugar daddy. No. But you know, like, it just was such a beautiful experience. And your friend, you brought your friend with you. What was his name?
Yeah. He in the streets. He goes by Corvin.
That was it. That was it. Yeah. Corvin. Yeah. We all got aliases.
Yeah.
No, yes.
Like, yes. I don't know that name. I'm gonna call you.
Right? No. Right. I'm 3 different people this night, so you can tell me what I was doing. No, but he was so beautiful, and this just the conversations that we had, they just really made me thank God for having the mind that I have. You know, because it was like to even be, because you didn't have to come to Philadelphia and say, I want to take you out.
Yeah, I came everybody. To see you.
I know, you know everybody. My boy Javante has been down to see you. He's got all his music. He's traveling. There was another guy before. He used to work out. I forget his name. Shorter, Hispanic. He was really buff. This was a couple of years ago. But he got with you and y'all were doing like the training regiments. I forget his name.
Quay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So see.
Yeah, we're still cool.
Yeah, see, I'm taking you back.
He came one time. He came to visit. So yes. He was like, "Hey, I'm doing like a photo shoot in Tampa for like a day, but they're flying me into Orlando." And we had only just like talked on social media, and I used him as a trainer for a little bit, an online trainer. And he was like, "Do you mind if I like crash a night with you?" And I was like, "Okay." Yeah. And we ended up having a blast, and he ended up staying a whole week. And I remember like it was 7 days later, and he was like, I don't still have my ticket back. And I was like, just stay. We're having I got free personal training. You know what I'm saying?
Yes!
We had a blast.
Yeah, and guess what? You really put it into implementation, because even now your body is amazing. You were doing something we're going to talk about in a second.
Maximum effort.
Yes. And the jamboree, the bear jamboree.
Oh yeah, on that little weekend. That's so cool.
Like your body. I was like, shh. Yeah, and then to see it in person, and for everyone that's thinking, no, he looks this gorgeous in person, like he really does, guys. I'm such a supporter, because you didn't have to do that. Like you said, you came specifically to see moi, and I'm like, and get it. I had to travel an hour to get to the center of the city.
We were in New York. We were doing.
Yeah, you guys were in New York.
Yeah, and I was like, let's just take the train down. We'll spend like the afternoon with you.
And get it. It was so crazy, because we were both on the train. We were sending each other photos on the train.
Right.
There, like, so and that hug. I'll never forget the hug. Like, it's, because get this, I'm going to segue here. I had someone over the summer in July, actually the 4th of July. He went missing. And then he was a friend of mine. And he turned up a couple of days later. He was found dead. And the police, it was in Alabama, the police ruled it.
Remember you posted about it, was 3 of them, wasn't it?
Yes, but he was the only one that succumbed. And the other 2 their whereabouts were different. But I talked to him for years online. And the biggest backlash that I got, and I didn't care about it. Joe, you know me, I didn't care about it, because I'm going to say what I got to say. Because at the end of the day, you're watching me. I'm not watching you. So literally, yes, literally. So I got backlash, because everyone was like, well, you never met him in person, and how can you say you know him? And I'm like, you don't understand. When I say my guys, they have my number. We talk all the time. And
you FaceTimed me the other day.
Yeah, I know, right? Random. It's like, hey, you want to do this? Yeah. No, but like, there have been situations with him. I talked to him. He was in school. So get this. He had his bachelor's, he had his master's, and he was working on his PhD.
Wow.
Young, black, gifted young man from Alabama named, DeAndre Cottrell. And get it, while he was doing that, because this is the world blew it up, the tabloids blew it out of control, but he was in a relationship with 2 partners. They were a threat. Right. And the other 2, they started a group called the Ski Boys, and they were traveling and performing in our world, the gay
Mm-hmm.
community, and not just gay community. They were getting into like movies and things. I just think I just saw Black is Beautiful, or Beauty in Black, or something. Tyler Perry's show. The new one
Okay.
came out. Julian and De'Eric were in that show. It was minus DeAndre, but they were doing things. Basically, they were getting out there, but he was still pursuing his studies. But people were really vicious about, oh, you didn't meet him. And I'm like, you have no idea how many thousands of young men I know, how many times I've sent my money to help them, how many times I've cash apped them, how many times they've been there, they've needed places to stay, and I had to call in favors in different cities and get them lodgings because I was trying to get the world. And then I did the expose because I was trying to get the world to understand that being gay, being Black, being Latin is hard. We are over sexualized anyway. We do what sells, but there's so much more to us. But the world does not want to acknowledge the rest of us. Like, they talked so much about my friend DeAndre's life, about Ski Boy and partnership. They didn't really want to talk about that. Oh, well, he was a doctoral candidate. Well, talk about that bachelor's degree he got. Talk about that master's degree he got. Talk about those that they didn't want to talk about. The fact that, yeah, he was living in the entertainment lifestyle, but he was also covering all his bases as far as higher education went. So I just wanted to stay there for a second because I wanted people to understand that it starts online and it can grow into many different things. Some of my boys, like the ones I know from like London and Paris and things, I've known them since 2003. I'm not,
Wow.
and I'm saying this to you because you're like me. When you meet someone, you're not the high and by type of person, is why I'm bringing this
No.
up. We will be in talks and visits for years to come. Like,
Yeah.
you and I share that. It's not
Yeah.
a ship passing in the night. That's why I
Right.
brought that up. So I'm gonna leave that alone and get back to us. But I just wanted to say that, because here you are, you're someone who has actually been with me, who has actually embraced me, whom actually loved on me, hugged me, was there. We had positive conversation, and it felt like the same conversations we have online, we have here.
Yeah.
It was the
They're
same.
just face to face. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was the same. I went to Paris with a man I met on ebonymail.com. I lived 6 months with him. Yes, I lived 6 months with that Parisian man. He was gorgeous too, mind you. 6 months. He took care of me. I left with 50 cents in my pocket. I will never do that again. I was 22 and stupid. I just wanted to be a model. No, he
That's how you do
took me.
it. That's how
Yeah.
you do it.
Like the internet needs more credit. It is bringing the world together. That is
Oh,
why
for sure.
it's called social media. You know?
Right.
You got
I
anything you
met
want to say about
you.
that before we move on?
I met you because I think you were commenting on Javante's stuff, and I think I did too. And I think then you started commenting on mine, and I was brand new to social media, and I was like, Javante, who's this? Who's this Queen of Shade? And he's like, oh, she's really nice, like really nice.
It was a referral.
Okay.
Tell him. It was a referral. And it was like, oh, okay. Should I talk to her? Like, reputation.
And then I think you were posting Quay, and then that's how I met up with Quay. But then I just linked up with Meek Productions in Atlanta,
Yeah.
and he was like, I think I saw your stuff because of the Queen of Shade, and he had been following me for a while. We actually did like a podcast interview, and he mentioned it. We did a whole shout out to you. So but that's how social media is.
It can change your life. You can get to the right person, and then you have a business partner. Literally.
Right.
Literally.
Right. But I also feel like, just to your credit too, when you were talking about staying with people for life, I feel like the moment we have like a bond, like you're stuck with me. Like,
yeah.
You're stuck with me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna be through everything. They don't even understand. I talked to DeAndre. I don't want to say, because there was a lot of things that weren't public that I know about behind the scenes, but I kept talking about it when I did, because I needed him to understand that yes, he had those degrees. Yes, he had those accomplishments, but it was still very hard out here with him being a Black gay man. And it was very hard. It was very hard. Like, the life that they were living behind the scenes was tough. It was tough.
Well, and I also believe, and I don't know him or any of them at all,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not speaking on them. I can only speak from my experience. But sometimes you don't want to be just one thing. Like, hey, you have to be this doctorate. Why can't I also have a nice body and do entertainment on the weekends? I'm not bothering anybody. I just want to dance. Like, for those of you who don't know out there, like, I have a bachelor's in psychology, I have a master's in social work. I've owned my own social service agency for the past 12 years. We're fully accredited, and now we're franchising. But, like, I'm also an ambassador for One Magical Weekend and the Bear Jamboree, and I put a little scout hat on and take my shirt off and wear khaki shorts and throw axes and got booked to do a bunch of gay prides and had a blast doing it. And when I was like, don't be fooled by this body. Like, we're getting
a
brain.
There's a brain there, but you see, there's a brain.
But you can be a bunch of things. Like, yes. and I, like I said, I don't know them, but maybe that's the thing too. Sometimes people are like, well, you have to pick one. Well, I don't want to pick one. Why can't I? If I could quote Cardi B, I don't want to choose. I want to have both.
Yes. And I said something on my page a couple of days ago because I'm posting more about the election and the candidates. And we're not going there. No, Joe. We're not going there.
I'm voting on Tuesday.
Go Kamala. Right? Go Kamala. That's it. But no, like, I had someone say, like, entertainers should stay as entertainers. And I had to get with him because I had to say to him, first of all, you can wear more than one hat. And then I went there on him. He was silent after that. He didn't say anything else to me because I had to let him know. I said, listen, I said, you're saying this to me because you work for a government agency. I said, but you never know where people's desires and what their passions are. My passion isn't entertainment. It's my job. My passion is to one day work for the United Nations and make a difference in this world. I said, and then furthermore, my star, the one that you're talking about, is going to make sure that you at your agency are never even capable of being able to bring about the changes on a global scale that my quote unquote entertainment star will bring. You won't even be able to do that. You'll be making a difference there, but my star will affect the world. I had to let him know. And he didn't say anything else. And he was like, Queen, I support you. And it's something. Then why are you talking out of your neck at me? Why are you talking out of the side of your neck at me? See, they forget I'm black. They forget, Joe. They forget that my name is the Queen of Shade. I know I have polished her. I have polished her, but she still is the Queen of Shade. She owns the trademark. It's not Mariah, okay? I own the trademark.
That's so dope. I actually just started the process to trademark my company, and you can attest to this. So, like, it is. Sorry, I'm like, that sunlight's starting to come in. I just think it is the coolest thing that is going to say, like, YOLO mentoring TM. Yeah. And I was like, screw that Instagram blue check. Screw it. Like that. Who needs it? I have a TM after my company name. Like, I just think that's so cool.
Do you know what's so funny? I got my blue check. I was awarded my blue check in 2019. I didn't buy it like the rest of these people. I worked really hard being a no one. I was a no one. I started as a no one. Just like, and I was someone. We all are someone, but I started as a no one in social media. And literally, I worked, and in 2018, I amassed 21 million likes that year.
Wow.
Yeah, in 1 year.
Wow.
Yes. So what happened was, I woke up one day, and it was there.
That's cool.
I didn't call anybody. I didn't have anybody that worked there that could get me in. I didn't pay nobody. Like, it was there. And then they were like, please give us your business information, your EIN number, like what's going on, your trademark, because now they don't allow you to put like your business name up there. They want your government name. Oh, we're doing this verification thing. But back then, they said, well, what's your business name? And I said, I'm the Queen of Shade TM. And they let me keep that. But I want to let you know something about that trademark situation. So get it. There is, when you initially do it, depending on who you go through, a lawyer, if you find a company to do it, I'll give this to everyone. I went through the trademarkcompany.com. I went through the trademark.
Okay, I'm going through a lawyer.
Mm. Okay, yeah, you see, you're going through a lawyer. So I went through the trademark.com, company.com, and then I switched to my lawyer. He now governs it because I had so many. I'm a working bitch. So get this though, but this is what I wanted to say. People think you pay the $2,000 and that's it. I have had to expand my trademark 4 times.
Wow.
because get this, when I first started, I was the Queen of Shade, but I was doing non-downloadable videos on social media. That is what the trademark said. Then I started doing music. Now, I had to get an expansion, because it's just, when I say expansion, they just put you in another, they add another class to the trademark. So they added another class. Yes. Okay, so you have 2 classes so far. So I added a second class, which was, now it wasn't even downloadable music yet. It was live performances. So I could take and do stuff on the internet and in person, live performances. I needed to expand my trademark to do this. This is a live performance.
Wow.
See, people don't know about. See, they made me mad. I got mad thinking about DeAndre. So I'm flexing real quick. But I'll get over it. Don't worry. So then that was that. Then the third one was, I wanted to be able to sell my merchandise with my Queen of Shade logos on everything, hats, mugs, shirts, pants, this, that. That was the third expansion. Then get this. This last expansion, author, the Queen of Shade for literary work. And now the downloadable music. Do you know? This is, so get this, 4 times. Do you know it was $2,000 each time?
I'm sure it was.
It was $2,000 each time. Now get this, $2,000 each time, plus almost $2,000 each time for the lawyer.
The attorney.
Don't come for me, and don't come for you. But like, not like this is like, no, like this is our job, and I tried to get people to understand.
But it protects you.
Oh my!
But it's like we talk about. But it's like we talk about making that foundation. Like if you work hard for something, it's going to take a lot of effort to destroy it. If it comes easy, it's going to fall apart easy. That's how I look at it. Don't be afraid of putting in the hard work. Like about that foundation, it has to be solid. If it's not solid, it will fall apart.
Yes, you are so.
I've always heard it takes 20 years to be an overnight success.
You told me that.
I've had my company for 12, and I'm like, 8 more years. And
guess what? I told you when we were at the Sky Lounge. Get this. This is my 21st year.
Wow.
It's due me now. It's due now. I just got to keep maintaining. It's due me now. You know? Joe, you are so amazing. So get this. Talk more about it. Talk more about what YOLO mentoring and what that does. Come on, let's get into that. Because, like, I really want to hear. You are an angel here on earth, and you do amazing work, and I really want this highlighted.
Well, thank you. From the first interview we had, we talked about how I adopted sons out of foster care. I was actually the first single gay man in the state of Florida to adopt a child legally out of foster care. I have 3 sons.
The entire state.
The entire state, because it was illegal. It straight up asked on the application if you were homosexual, and you were denied. So anyway, it was overturned by the courts, and I was the first legal single gay man to adopt. So I started a company 12 years ago based on some of the issues that I was seeing with my son. And I had always been like working in the social service field. So I was in grad school to get my master's, and I was adopting. And I was like, you know what? I want to start my own company. And I was... because I didn't have enough on my plate. And I was like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start my own company. And I did. And it was tough. But I was like, the social service world is very heavily dominated by females. Very. Like, and so I was like, I want an all-male mentoring agency where we could work with young boys and young girls. And sometimes, every once in a while it was tough. Like for the first year or two, we didn't have it. My insurance wouldn't allow us to mentor females. And then I switched to a different insurance agency that was specifically a social work insurance agency. Shout out to American Professional. And they were like, everybody needs a positive male role model. And I was like, thank you. And so it's nice because every once in a while you have a little boy or little girl who has had an adult male that had very poor boundaries. And sometimes it takes a professional in a professional setting, a male as a mentor, to help rewire and rearrange some of those boundaries. Hi, do you want to get ice cream today? Do I have to do anything for it? No, you don't. And let's be clear, you never have to do anything you don't want to do, and you can tell somebody if you're uncomfortable. The only thing I would expect is a thank you. But if anybody wants anything more than that, you don't have to. Remember that. And these are real conversations that I've had with kids. I've had, teenage boys and teenage girls say to, Mr. Joe, like, I wish you were my boyfriend. And I was like, well, that would be inappropriate. I'm an adult male and you are a teenager. That would be wildly inappropriate. We're professional friends, if anything. And I was like, you'll get a high five, maybe a hug on your birthday, but like, we're friends. And I think if you think about it, you'll realize you're confused because I'm treating you with kindness and you're mistaking it for intimacy. It's not. It's just kindness. This is what friends do. And I was like, take a moment to think about it and I'll see you next week. So what I did was I taught that child rejection in an appropriate way. And every single kid, the very next week, I'm like, hey, how you doing? They're like, Mr. Joe, I really like our friendship. Yeah, it's dope. What do you want to do today? And I really think I have such a unique program. Like, we actually go to the child's house, we pick them up, we take them out into the community, we teach them one of 4 goals that it's set in my program that I also went in through the process of the Council of Accreditation and got fully accredited. So my program is accredited. Shout out to the Council of Accreditation because I had an agency a couple years ago try to change all my paperwork and my goals. And it was one of the contracts I had. And she was like, at 1 o'clock in the morning, I got an email and they're like, hey, we want you to do these goals. We want you to do this. And we want this to be your paperwork. And I was like, there must be some confusion. You didn't start my company. You have no authority to change this. Right. You don't pay taxes on my company. And she was like, well, I just think this is better. And I said, well, we're also under contract based on my company that I wrote. And so, no, unless we're going to have a contract renegotiation. And that, we ended up having a meeting, and I remember this woman, this was 5 years ago, so 7 years into my company, and she sat there at this meeting, and her and I had the same level of degree, and she was like, well, I just think that this is what you need to do. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. And she was like, well, it's time for a change. And at the time, I wasn't smart enough in that room in front of everybody, because it's hard when it's your own company because I'm so emotionally attached to it. Yeah. And I had my assistant with me, I had somebody else with me, but it's still hard because this is my baby and it's hard not to get emotional. Yeah. So sometimes when I go to big meetings, I have like a consultant with me and they kind of take over some of the hard conversations because I want to like punch somebody in the face. Yeah. But at the time I wasn't smart enough to say, what test subjects have you put up against my method to prove that your method is more effective than mine? I wish I would have said that, but I didn't. All I said was, we've been doing it this way for 7 years. And she was like, don't you think it's time for a change? I'm like, no, it's not broken. And in 7 years, I've seen plenty of companies come and go, but I'm still here. And here we are 5 years after that. So it's been 12 years. I'm fully accredited. That lit a fire under me to be like, I need to get an accreditation behind this. I need to get my method tested and proven so that this won't happen again. Yeah. And so now I decided I was like, well, once I get that fully done, I want to franchise, because at my biggest, I was probably managing 40 workers and 40 workers total. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I can kind of handle 40 as long as I have like my 2 assistants with me and, we're getting stuff done. And I was like, how do I expand? How can I keep expanding nationwide? And we've expanded throughout Florida. I mean, like, we've been in Jacksonville, all the way down to Miami. We're in Central Florida. Like, I've got multiple contracts. And I said, what if I was managing owners instead of workers? And that clicked to me. And I was like, I need to franchise, because I could probably manage 40 owners. And if each of them are managing 10 to 20 workers. Expansion. Well, and I've always wanted to be nationwide. And I remember sitting there. I remember being not 5 years old. I remember being in like 4th grade and sitting on the bus. And I was like, the bus driver works for somebody, but how do I be that person that somebody works for? And I didn't know what that meant, but I remember sitting there thinking it like, how is it that no one's above me? Like, if I could quote Tyra, like, I want to be on top. So, so I was like, it always had that mind of like, and so any company I ever worked for, when I started doing social work, I would always like, hey, can I get a copy of like your forms, your policies and procedures, this and that? I literally have everything from my past jobs, because I'm like, I want to study this. I want to make this on my own. I want to be able to do this. And it was just a no-brainer to be like, you're going to work for yourself one day. But the goal would be, now we're applying for like federal grants. And the biggest competitor is the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA. And I'm like, how dope would that be to be sitting at like a boardroom table and I'm next to like the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club? I'll be looking like Big Bird sitting at that conference table, like, y'all got some cookies. But I was like, this could be a real thing. I mean, I go to a lot of like mentoring workshops and meetings and events, and especially with the Department of Juvenile Justice, who's very big on prevention. And mentoring is huge with prevention. And it's nice because everybody does something different. Like one agency was like, they're like, this group, what we do is we meet with kids that get bullied in school, and we have lunch with them every day in their school and talk to them and whatnot. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, there's the Boys and Girls Club, and they're like, we have a facility that they come to. And there was another one that was like, we have a weekend camp that they can come to. And I was like, we go to their house. Like, there's a piece for everybody. We can really do this full circle and get everybody the service that they need specifically, because maybe some people want a place. Yeah. Right. And we do one-on-one mentoring, and some people might want group settings with other kids their own age. So it's, I love it. I have always wanted to do something where I felt there was a balance. Like I remember Joan Rivers, she was one of my favorite comedians, and she said, I just want to make people laugh, and I want to make a lot of money while I'm doing it. And I was like, that's the balance I want. I want to do what I love, and I also want to be able to live comfortably and travel and do my life. And I have found that balance, and I just want to keep expanding. And so we are currently, and hi guys out there, just in case, again, my name is Joe Adorno, and I own YOLO Mentoring. And if you are interested in helping kids in your community at risk, I specifically work in child welfare, but there's also the Department of Juvenile Justice. There's education. There's the medical side. I mean, we can get grants from the United Way, but it's about helping. And there's so many at risk, because that encompasses everybody. At risk kids that need a positive adult, male or female role model in their life. That's like, I'm here for you. It's sometimes I say this to my contracts, not to like. But it's almost like having a paid best friend, but as a professional. And people say to me all the time, because I charge for the service, that's why I do the contracts, and that's why I'm like we have the grants and stuff. And they're like, well, why would we go to you instead of going to like a volunteer? Well, because sometimes you get what you're paid for, and I'm a structured program, and we're here for the department. I understand the therapist, the mentor, the tutor, like we're all part of how are we moving this child forward. So when you need me to come to court to a staffing, I'm aware of what my role is and how we're moving this case forward.
Do you know, there were so many things, and I took it all in. I literally cataloged as I was listening. First of all, I love that you give language to children. When I was 8, I was molested and raped. Molested by a man, raped by a woman. Literally, I did not have the language. No one, you got to understand, my family was religious, but we don't talk about those things.
For sure. Hide it under the rug.
Yeah. So I did not, I didn't have the language. I like how you said, and I'm going to go somewhere else with this too, because I'm going to illustrate how this is still with us today, even in adults. So this is just to put this in your head, because at risk, that terminology follows you your entire life.
I'm going to put a pin in that, because I have a story. And real quick, second pin is, that's my company motto. Let's mend kids so we don't have to fix broken adults.
Exactly. So,
but keep going. I apologize.
No. You were great. I'm glad you said that, because this is the thing. At risk. Let's stay with that word for a second. I can use myself. Fresh out of college, had to be medically withdrawn. No resources, no family dialogue around hereditary mental illness that could be passed to me. No preparation, nothing in place. No therapist, no counselor, no paid best friend, no language, none of these things. Go to college, shit falls out of the bottom of the bag, and it is just a mess. Then, leaving there, deciding to go into entertainment. What people don't understand about entertainers, you are your own small business. But the problem is, so many of us don't have the language, the professionalism, the friends, the support. That at risk still puts us way below The competition. And this is the thing, as a child, it's not a competition. But as an adult at 42 years old doing what I'm doing, I'd be a madman to say I'm not in competition with the rest of the world who does what I do.
Right.
And having that language, like, you have to understand, oh God, this is so horrible to say, but it's true. There were people from the other side of the tracks. I'll say it like that. You know where I'm going. There were people from the other side of the tracks that saw me coming in as a young adult at risk. And it was, oh, well, I have this for you. But what are you prepared to do for it? And what you have to understand is that is still happening to my black and brown brothers right now. That is the very reason I show all those boys on my page. It is not about the body. It is not about the beauty. If my star is large and you come under my protection, you can tell me. You can tell me that you went to see this photographer and he groped you. I have literally, Joe, since 2003, I have had to hear the horror stories from black and brown men about what is happening to them as adults trying to extend or get into this business. And the problem is, when you talk to them about their childhood, they were at risk. I had a man, now mind you, I had a man at one point, young man. I even wrote a song about him. Beautiful man. I met him in New York. He was trying to do his thing, gorgeous, out of the military, out of college, all of those things. But he worked himself so hard, and he did things that he shouldn't have done to get things that he needed. And he didn't want to tell me about it, and he was ashamed and embarrassed. And in fact, everyone in his circle, all these beautiful, and I'm talking 6'4", 6'3", beautiful, 230, muscular, football player, like, these type of men, the top of the barrel, what you would think. No, they were all doing the things they didn't want to do. And I asked him one day, just him, I said, why do you do it? Because even back then, the no was in my heart. I couldn't do it. I had already been molested. I'd already been raped. I wasn't going back, not as an adult. It took me my whole life with no therapy at that point to get over it. So I wasn't going to go back and join an industry that was sex trafficking me. So I asked him, why are you doing this? Why do you do it? Because he made a remark to me one time. That's where I got into Gay for Pay. That's where I got that from. Because he said, you need to come to New York and do this. You actually like this. And I said, I still can't do this. He said, but you actually like this. You could get us all in because it's just one night. You could do it. All of us, we don't like to do it. He said that to me. This is the thing. When I asked him why, he said, I'm the oldest of 5 boys. All my brothers are back home with my mother. We have dirt floors in our house. I have to do this to help my family. And his desire to help his family wasn't misplaced. The actions and the people that knew he needed that kind of help were wrong. And that speaks on so many levels. I'm not even going to touch it because that will get political. But I have had to hear this. All these boys, they've played with sometimes the wrong celebrity, been threatened, their lives have been threatened. I sit like, that's why I tell people, you don't know the queen. You don't know who I know. And you don't know what I know. And I have had to hear this since 2003. And then I support all my boys, but I have had to watch them eventually give up that campaign because they just couldn't do it anymore. And then they launch OnlyFans and say, well, shit, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it for myself.
And I'm going to control it.
But at the same time, no one comes to that just because they want to. I got to say it. No one comes to that. I support all my boys, but no one just wakes up and says, I'm going to do this for shits and giggles. It is usually because of a need, or they don't, a 9 to 5 is not feasible. They want more of
Right.
their time. They want, because this
Right.
is what they're trading their bodies for. They're trading their bodies for finance and their time. When you have to go work for someone, you have to give them the majority of their time. That check that they give you is not coming easily. You have to
Right.
put in the hours. You have to put in the work. And if you're spending so much time at work, when do you ever have time for yourself or to help anyone else or to build intergenerational wealth?
Well, and also, right, and like you were saying, they are supporting more than just themselves. That's that's very common too.
Very.
Somebody has to be like, I need you to help us. Or they feel they have to be the breadwinner for the family that may not get it together, may not have the resources, or, you know, I've people said I have to do this so that my brother won't, so that my sister won't. I worked with a lot of kids in the past 12 years. And prior to me starting my company, I was a dependency case manager, which is a case manager for kids in foster care. And my agency that I worked for, I mean, we got the worst of the worst cases. I had a few cases of mine that were in the news before it got to me. And I'm like, I don't want that case. But I don't have a choice in it. You know, like, this is your case. And I'm like, all right. But it is, aside from getting into that, like you were saying with the adults, I've had a bunch of mentors. Now, I'm not opposed to, I typically hire college age, grad school age, because with my agency, I'd like to have someone who I feel can connect with the kids like in today. Right. Other agencies are like, we only hire retired individuals. Like, there's a piece for everybody.
Yeah.
And I get a lot, every once in a while I get a referral or a resume, and they say, I used to be in foster care. Right. And I always have that conversation with them. I said, it has never really worked out for any mentor that was in foster care and then now is a mentor.
Because they internalize everything.
It triggers them like you wouldn't believe. To the point where I had a worker, and I won't say any names, but, and I'm going to change the story just a little bit.
Yeah,
but
nuance.
He was mentoring a boy, and this boy, was like, oh, I got molested by this adult male. And the mentor was so triggered by it because he, at a young age, was molested by an adult male with the same title, coach, teacher, priest, whatever, blah, 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 but like with the same title. And it triggered him so much that I ended up having to create an in-house therapy program. So I hired a therapist that would specifically work with my mentors only. If they needed it free for them, I would pay the therapist, but they would only work on that particular trauma. We weren't like, oh yeah, let me find out why my mother doesn't love me. Like, it really had I wanted to make sure that it was related to the job. If you need something outside of it, the therapist would refer you or whatnot. But as it relates to this job, I need to make sure that you're there. But that came out of a need, and I would love to keep something like that going, like moving forward, because people a lot of times want to do things because it speaks to them in their heart. But sometimes their mental capacity can't handle it. I've also noticed in hiring people who come in saying like, oh, I wish I could just save all the kids in the world. And that's great, but you're going to burn out so fast because your passion's just a little intense, and you're going to burn out fast because you want to help everybody. Yeah. I typically like somebody who has a balance when I hire, somebody who says like, I like the idea of giving back, but I also like that I can get paid for it, and it's like a part-time gig while I'm in school, this and that. I just feel like I want to give back. That sounds like a perfect reason. Yeah. Let's continue this interview, Yeah. But it's some of the stories are just shocking, and I've said before, and I actually like 2 weeks ago I did guest lecturing at the University of Tampa. That's where I went for, and I was speaking at one of the criminology classes, and one of my shout out to Dr. Tui, but my lecture was a cross between child welfare and the criminal side of it, criminology. So like when it kind of crossover kids, when you have a child in child welfare, but then they also have criminal charges. And I was talking about like compound issues and compound maltreatments. And I was like, what if, let's talk about sexual molestation. You have a kid that's touching another kid. Is it a crime or is it a maltreatment? It kind of depends who gets to the kid first. If the police get to them first, it could be a crime. If a case manager or a therapist or a foster parent gets to them first, it's under the dependency umbrella. And, ooh, this is the maltreatment. Let's do a psychosexual evaluation. Let's see if we can help this kid. It's not necessarily a criminal act. And I was like, sometimes it sucks. It's not a perfect system. But like, when do you spot the difference between a child who's actively perpetrating on another child for the purpose of terrorizing them, to overpower them, to be dominant? But what if the child is perping on them because they're curious?
Yeah.
And a lot of us, I think, in a young age have done, well, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. And some of us have done it as an adult. But I mean, it's tough because the system, there's so many things that overlap in different systems that it really just depends who you get to first. Like I was talking about, you can have somebody who has mental health issues, substance abuse issues, medical issues. What do you address first? My opinion, substance abuse always number one. If you are chemically dependent on something, you have to come off that before you can do anything.
Yeah.
And then it depends on the need. Is it then medical or mental health?
Yeah.
Which one's the greater issue?
There's a lot of, what I'm going to say is going to shock you, but there's a lot of this in our communities, which is why your business is so important. Your program is so important, because I feel better now knowing that you're getting to kids and turning out better adults. Because literally, this is what's happening. You're getting to them with all of their angst, with all of their issues, and you're helping them undo them, which goes beyond therapy. Like literally, when you are stepping in and literally physically being the difference, that is an angel of a whole nother level of heaven. Because get this.
Or below. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, because get this. When I was 11, I was accused of rape. And get this. And I watch how this goes, because this is not, watch this. So what happened was, I was black. I grew up in the suburbs. I got there when I was 10. So I was 11. I was fresh. I was there. From 10 all the way up until college, I was in the suburbs. So I just gotten there. So I just gotten from the inner city, all that stuff like that. So what happened was, there was a young white kid, and I was friends with him and the girl. What happens is, we went to see her. And this didn't even happen in her house. This happened in because our apartment complexes had the door that you could open, and then it was like hallways. You could walk all around and, come in from the cold, or come in, bring your stuff in from the car, and then take it up to your apartment. Well, I turned around, and I was not even involved. I was there. And he made the mistake of putting his hand up her shirt. And a neighbor heard it and was watching through the peephole. Who did they blame? He was white.
Dark one. Right, I was like the dark one.
They came after me. So get this. It wasn't even, we left her house. She went one way, we went the other way. The police were the other way already. My aunt was raising me. My aunt didn't know where I was. My brothers and sisters didn't know where I was. Nothing like that. The police picked me and him up, put us in the back of a car. We started crying because I didn't know what was going on. He, even himself, didn't know what was going on. Took us to the precinct, held us all day before they called any parents. Whoa. I'm missing a major point. Held me all day before they called my parents. They let him go 30 minutes after he got there. Look at this. It ain't over. So my aunt is trying to figure out what's going on. The cops tell the mother of the girl what has happened. The mother, I'm 11. I haven't had a growth spurt yet. Nothing. The mother's trying to attack me. The mother's trying to fight me. They're grabbing her, my aunt. Like it was crazy. And this is the thing. In the complex, I lived here facing her front window. She lived across the courtyard. So whenever she came out, we saw each other. So the mother would go hysterical. Get this. So they kept me there all day. It went all the way to Montgomery County court system. They wanted me to do time in a juvenile detention center. Then they wanted me to come out and be on probation and all of these things. I was no longer allowed to speak to him either. Like, it was the
Right.
craziest thing.
Right. No contact order.
No contact, nothing, nothing. So he went in before I did. He came out crying. So I looked at my aunt, and my aunt looked at me, and she said, I believe you, but now you got to go in here and you got to tell them what you know. And you can't lie to them. Because coming from the city, if I got in trouble or if I was afraid of getting in trouble, I would lie. And I'm not just
Right.
saying kids did, but I grew up in the projects. I was always,
Well, it's
I was,
very common. Yeah.
well, look at me now. Anyway, yeah, just for that. But anyway, so I listened to her and I went in there and they asked me questions. And I'll never forget something that I did not know about myself yet. Kind of knew earlier, but had forgotten because of religion and all of those things. Something my family knew about me, but did not discuss with me to prepare me. The judge, when he started talking to me, because he was asking my aunt different things first, that's where the questions came in. Then the judge turns to me. They put me on like the stand, and I was a little kid. I was scared out of my mind. The judge turns to me and says, I want to talk to you, because he had dealt with the white kid already. What happened? What was your involvement? I said, Your Honor, and started talking. He looked at the lawyer. He looked at my aunt. He said, Sir. He called me sir. I was 11. He called me sir. He said, Sir, please step down, and I want them to take you back outside to sit on the bench. I was scared. I was like, oh God, something's going to happen. They're going to take me from here. Something's up, because I didn't even have this first question. So what happened was they took me out. And then my aunt came out with the lawyer. And the lawyer said to me, young man, be careful from now on who you pick as your friends. The judge heard my voice, called my parent, my aunt, and the lawyer up and says, this child is gay. You really think he did this?
Oh. Oh.
The one time in my adolescence, in my youth, where being gay worked for me.
Oh, right.
But get this, there's a twist to that story. For an entire year before that happened, I had been fooling around with that girl. We were sleeping together. What you call sleeping together? It wasn't even really nothing. I hadn't hit puberty or anything.
Right.
We were experimenting together. She was literally my experimentation partner.
Wow.
Craziest thing. But the reason why I wanted to go that way is because I am happy that you are getting a hold of some child, because this is the thing. You're right. And I had to learn this even in my business. All these black and brown men, I can't save them all. I couldn't save my friend DeAndre. It happened. I was devastated. I had to go on a mental health vacation. It literally took me, I was waking up, night terrors. It was bad. But I can't save every boy that comes my way. And they're grown now. They're grown now, which means they have to participate in their own rescue.
Right.
I'm just happy to hear that you're getting them at a time when it is still to be decided whether it's a crime or whether it's maltreatment. And all these other things, therapy and rejection, being taught reject. Do you know how many crimes have been committed in urban communities because the perpetrator could not handle the rejection of it?
I talk about that all the time when I train new mentors, and I said, everyone at some point has to learn rejection. I was like, and you might have a child hit on you at some point, and that's not something you as an adult need to be like, oh my God, I'm so freaked out, this child hit on me. No, you're the adult. It's time to teach rejection in an appropriate way, sweetheart, I think you're confused. Let me break this down for you. And we have a conversation about it. I'm very big on having conversations, and I want to make sure that somebody understands. And it's okay to say, I get where you're coming from because I'm kind to you, and you're mistaking that for something, but that you're mistaken. This is never going to blossom into something. Yeah. And I said, but, and I was like, I think if you think about it, you'll realize we have a friendship. And I think I always hope that one day that kid learns positive rejection, hopefully the first time with me or with any of my mentors. Yeah. And I hope that one day in the future, let's say they go to, they hit on somebody and they're like, oh, crazy ass bitch. Like, I'm not going to be. And I hope that it clicks to them like, oh, no, you're an asshole. Yeah. Never mind. Never mind. I thought it was, you know what? I'm good. My bad. I hope that they, and that's what I hope they get from it. That they're like, no, I've been told no before, but I've been told no nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's so funny? Every no that you hear doesn't have to be evil.
No.
You have to look at a person when they make it evil. And in the industry, and they make it evil. They want to make it evil. They want you to not try. They want you to go away broken.
And no is so simple. I don't know why some people, there's somebody I was talking to, and the response always was like, "Oh, I don't like conflict." And I'm like, no isn't necessarily conflicting. And remember, no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
Hey, do you want to hang out today? No. Why not? Oh, I'm tired. But no. Tomorrow though, it's okay to say no, and it's okay to hear no. I know we don't like to hear it because it feels offensive, but that seems like an issue, not like an ish me. And just shout out to Vincenzo. He says that all the time, one of my friends, and I think it's the funniest thing ever. It's rejection is tough because nobody likes it. I recently was rejected by somebody, and
lies, sacrilege. The person is blind.
Sacrilege. That's what I thought too. But
they're blind. They can't even see. They have no family history. They come from swill.
He'll see this interview.
I know.
But what hurt hard, I get rejected a lot, and that's not a big deal to me. I
know why. You're intimidating, baby. You're intimidating.
I'm aware of that.
You have a lot. You have family. You have history. You have wealth. You're a lot. I'm trying
I am a lot.
No, I'm trying to be like you. They intimidated by me right now, but I'm trying to smack them with rings and diamonds and you are, and it's a wonderful thing to be that though. And I'm glad you recognize that. It's a wonderful thing to be that. Right. Yeah.
Well, and I also say to when I'm into somebody, I'm like, I'm a lot, but also remember there's a lot of good. I'm the type of person, if you have an issue, we have an issue. I'm never gonna back down from a fight. I'm never gonna walk away from it. I will sit here and we will finish this because I lost the person who I thought I was gonna marry died 2 weeks before he moved in. And that has clicked in my mind so much that I'm like, I don't have time to be mad at you. You don't have time to be mad at me. Can we resolve this? No, I need some time. Okay, how much time? I don't want to go one more day being upset when we could just resolve it now. Is it that you can't get past that you're upset, but can we get past this issue? Because I can have a conversation and be like, okay, it's resolved. I'm so funky. Give me a couple minutes. Let me go to the bathroom and shake it off for a moment. When I come out, change the subject. Or something. Make a joke. Put something we have to clear the air. But I can get over stuff quickly because I'm I don't know. When you love someone and they leave this earth, there's no second chance. There's no other conversations. And I just have that mentality of I don't want to spend another moment being upset if we don't need to be. Let's resolve it now.
Is that why you do your segment? All the things you would say if you could say, things that you didn't get to say.
I know a lot of those.
You said it, I see why. I see why you do
things we wish we could say, but just don't.
But just don't.
People have reached out to me, and all of them, every single one of them, has been somebody who was like, "This is what I wish I could have said, or wish I would have known, or somebody would have told me." And it sucks, But like I said, I was rejected by someone, and it hurt a little harder because we took months to get to know each other, and when I finally was like, I want to be your boyfriend, and he was like, no, and I was like, ugh, it hurt at such a core because I don't have a good relationship with my parents, and I've told you this before, I think,
yes. Yes.
my mom doesn't care. I haven't spoken to her in years, and it sucks because I'm
I'm in
like,
the
oh,
club.
I've never,
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm in the club with you, baby. I'm in the club with you. The dad is non-existent. Never been. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. Like this, going
Mm.
through this franchise process
Yeah.
I was told, and I say this a lot, and I started saying this a long time ago. Like when I started my company, I was just like, oh, this is the biggest. I remember when I adopted my first son, I was like, this is the biggest thing I've done. And
Yeah.
then I was like, I'm going to start my company. And I'm like, okay, now this is the biggest thing I've done.
Yeah.
And then I bought a house and I'm like, okay, so I started saying, this is the biggest thing I've done so far.
So
And then when I
far.
started expanding into other territories, again, that's always been my response. This is the biggest thing I've done so far. So now that I'm like, well, I have my master's, I want to franchise. This is the biggest thing I've done so far. I can't tell you how much of a challenge this. I've had my very first panic attack in my life a couple months ago. I like just this has challenged me in a way that I couldn't even think of, and it has been tough. To say the least, tough. And I remember having, honestly, a few weeks ago, I had a broke down with two of my friends, and I was in tears on the phone, and I said, "Can you please tell me something nice about me?" Because I feel this would be the moment that most people call their parents and say, "Blah blah blah," and their parents are like, "Sweetie, you got this. You're my little angel. Don't worry." And I was like, "I don't have that. Can you please?" And I was like, no joking. I just say something nice because I need to hear it because I was doubting myself so much because it's, as you know, in your industry, everyone's going to tell you, you get told no more than yes. And some of my friends and people in my life are like, oh, Joe, it seems like things work out for you. I'm like, this is always an uphill battle. Always,
Mm-hmm.
always. The first application got rejected. It had to be done again. Like, I'm not giving up. It's just, there's always a battle. And, stuff costs money. And even just to hire the franchise attorney to do all the paperwork for the FTD cost 15 grand that had to be paid in 3 segments within a 30-day period. And so last month, 15 grand came out of my bank account. And I'm like, I've saved for that. It's gone. And so like I need to make these sales so that everything can get replenished. And so I mean it's a lot, and you question, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And I do believe it's worth it in the end. But those, like, I can't wait. The first sale should be happening fairly soon.
Yeah.
Fairly soon. I can't wait to announce it. And shout out to all the people that were there for me when I was breaking down. And then I feel like I'm going to do a second video and be like, shout out to the people who aren't there for me, who made me feel like, this is an FU to you. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, shout out to the partner that wasn't there when I had insomnia, that I like, that I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking about, like, is this the right decision? So it's, and don't woe is me. Like, don't woe is me. Like,
No, 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 no.
I feel,
No, you
I
talking to
feel
the right
blessed.
one. No, you talking to the right one with
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah, you
I
talking to the
feel
right one.
blessed, and many a times I have prayed to whoever's above me, or whoever's guiding me, or whoever,
That's the
anybody. I
universe.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. The universe, angels, God. I don't know. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing, but
Mm-hmm.
I've said very quietly, I you have smiled on me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take this for granted. And I want to do the best I can. Like my goal is to sell a bunch of franchises and to, have them working and go nationwide. And then I want to start opening up apartment complexes for kids specifically that age out of foster care, from the 18 to 26 crowd, where they're renting out the bedroom, kind of like college dorms, where they're renting out the bedroom instead of the apartment.
Yeah.
So it's less money for them.
Yeah.
It's affordable. And if somebody leaves in the middle of the night, it doesn't affect their rent.
Yeah. I want to tell you something. You called me because I've been there. No, Joe, you called me because I'm going to tell you something. I've been there. You want to hear something? I was just there last week.
Mm,
Suicidal.
no.
I deal with a mental illness. It comes because I'm trying to get out of here. And then not everyone around me supports me because they're upset that their lives didn't amount to as much as mine did because I just wouldn't stop. They can't understand why or how I have so much passion when everything has been taken from me. And they don't understand that this is all I have. You called me because I had to pick myself up. I had to use 20 years of therapy tools to stand up and say, first of all, you're doing this because from 10 to 20, you went to church and got indoctrinated. And during that time, instead of you finding yourself and believing in yourself and loving who you were, they told you to give yourself away. They told you to pray it away. They told you you were wrong. And now at 42, you still have the residue of that old programming trying to slip into your new being.
Show do. That is not something that goes away easily.
No, but I get through it. And I spend a lot of time alone. Get this. People, I love to work, but I'm going to say something here. People, they don't understand. Well, Queen, why don't you come out? Why don't you go out? Why don't you do these things? Why aren't you celebrating the fact that you're gifted? Do you know why? Because I'm protecting the world from me. I don't want not 1 ounce of any negativity in me to spill into the life of someone else, because I have constantly been on the receiving end of other people's bullshit in their lives spilling into mine. So I am keeping them safe by not having it happen to them, and I am keeping me safe by not allowing them entrance.
Makes sense.
That's real. But my therapist, she's the best. She's actually Palestinian.
Oh,
And
cool.
yes, and she's been where I want to go. She married a French man. He was a famous chef. He passed. She's now on her second marriage, but she's good. She's a therapist. She loves what she does. But we talk, and she always tells me, "You're my star. I am here in your life at this moment. Everybody else helped you those 20 years, but I'm here to prepare you for stardom." And she let me know what you're feeling right now, this breakdown, it's normal. You have not slipped. You can look yourself in the mirror. Trust me. She said, "Baby, what people don't understand is to be who you are comes with huge sacrifice and responsibility. It is the undertaking would cripple anyone who didn't have our enthusiasm."
Yeah.
Because literally, this thing right here, sheer will, sheer passion for loving what I do. And then I turn this camera off and do all the paperwork. And I love to do that too. And that's the thing. I love the business side more. I just did a video before this today about that, because all my life with being raped, molested, everyone has been trying to control this. Everyone. The music industry, the fashion industry, everyone wants to tell the young, beautiful being what to do, and they are not young or beautiful or talented. And they want to control it. And I knew at 20 that I needed to be my own boss. I knew. It didn't take me, it took me until 2013, 2012 to get there, but I knew at 20 years old that it wasn't going to work for me.
Mm.
And then it was this, "You're not a team." I had, okay, one time in 2007, I was going to get signed to modeling. Like, what people don't understand is there are agencies and then there are model makers. They have built names for themselves because they're famous in the community of fashion. So basically, you working with them will get you booked anywhere. That you literally,
Okay.
name will make you famous. Well, one
Okay.
crossed my path, and literally I was in my, because imagine this, I lived in the suburbs, and I was still so young then, and my family threw me out for being gay, and not just being gay, because all my aunts and uncles are gay, but they're very, "Oh Christ, please forgive me" about it. And me, I'm
Right.
like, "Oh God, you made me to be it, so I'm gonna be it."
Right.
Making
Right.
it, and they can't handle that. I
He
mean,
decided, he made me this way. I need
yeah,
to accept
yeah,
it.
and they're not that way. They're that, "Mom, please
Right.
forgive me for all that kind of stuff," and that's up to them. But I chose a different path, so I was literally in this fucking low budget apartment with my brother. My brother was younger
Mm.
than me. I was working, and I was like, "I got to get out of here." And I remember him offering me a position on his board. And he was like, "I can put you with any agency anywhere worldwide." And I'm like, "Thank you."
Mm.
I was literally crying. I was wrapped, my arms were wrapped around the toilet bowl. I was in my bathroom because I did not want my brother to hear me, because I did not want him to know what kind of sacrifices I was making for us to be better. But get this.
Right.
So turn around. And this man says to me, oh, and by the way, I'm going to need you to move to Miami by yourself, so you're going to have to get rid of your brother. I know you
Oh,
have I know you have those Persian cats, but you can't bring them with you either. And and then you're going to have to learn to sleep in my bed. Flat out. And then says this to me, I will help you, but I can tell you're defiant. He had contracts ready. If you ever try to leave me, I will fucking destroy you and your career. He said that to me. I called his name one time and he called me and said, please don't say my name anymore. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, you're sorry now because I'm somebody.
wow.
Be careful who you treat. So I said all that to say this. I am so thankful for you being in this world and more importantly, being in my life because you are one of my very few friends that actually has a business and knows how sticky it gets. You got to pay
Right.
this, you got to pay that, you got to pay this.
Well, and sometimes it's, and it's not even, it's not even sexual advances or favors.
Right.
Sometimes you piss somebody off
Yep.
and they're in a position of power.
Yep.
And they're like, you know what? I don't think we
Ain't
might
getting
need your
through here.
services anymore.
Yup. You ain't getting through here. You're not getting past me. They gatekeep.
And yep. And that sucks because I have had to have many conversations with a lot of professionals and say, even if you don't like me personally, you doing this affects the kids.
Mm.
I know you're looking at it as, oh, we just won't give clients to Joe and then he won't have any money. Who's really suffering?
Yeah.
Because you can
from you the way
you can argue with me all day, but my company produces results.
Yeah.
And my program produces results. And I remember saying this when I started my company. You cannot like me personally, but I work very well with kids and I work very well with teenagers because I'm a teenager at heart as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can relate to them on a particular level.
Yeah.
And it's, even when I was a case manager, they gave me all the teens because I worked well with all the teens. You can hate me all day, but you can't come after my work.
Mm-mm.
I remember because I was told I would dress too outlandish for court. I used to always have like a mohawk. I would have like designs shaved on the side of my head. Mm-hmm. And I bought my stuff from Express. So I had like a hot pink shirt. I had like all buttoned down. I remember a coworker one time, a supervisor, not directly of me, but said, I don't think your shirt's appropriate. And I was like, what's wrong with it? And she was like, it's hot pink. I just don't think that's professional. And I was like, a color can't be unprofessional. Right. It's a color. Anything could be. I'm wearing a button down shirt and tie. Yeah. So what if there's embroidered skulls on this tie? So what if it's a hot pink shirt? So like, but I remember. Push the envelope a bit. Push the envelope a bit. Just a bit. Just a bit. There was a judge that really liked me because I was honest with her. And I remember one time she was like, what's the status of this? And I was like, oh, I don't have it. And she was like, why not? And I was like, I forgot to do it. And she was like, you're the first person who said that in my courtroom. And she was like, but I want it done. And I want a status report in 3 days. I was like, yes, ma'am. And ever since then, I said, all right, if someone's going to think I dress outlandish, I want to know my case is so cold that I don't have to open my notebooks ever. And I was able to spit out dates, times, this and that. And those judges loved me. I remember my director told me one time, she was like, the judge is having a bad day, Joe. Can you show up in court? She loves when she sees you.
Wow. Wow.
And I was like, just show up and like wave to her. And she's like, hi, Mr. Adorno. And I'm like, hey, Judge Waller. She was the best. Yeah. I liked her. And there was the judge that did Judge Daniel Dawson, who did my adoption with Abdel. Yeah. It's a special spot in my heart. I remember them all saying, I will rule within the four walls of the law. Yeah. If we have to push boundaries, we'll push boundaries, but it has to be within the four walls of the law. And I'm like, thank you. Yeah. Because sometimes, and this is what I was saying when I was doing my lecture at the school with like criminology, and I was like, sometimes you have to be creative. Yeah. Sometimes cookie cutter stuff doesn't work with every case. Yes, there's a system. And I actually related it to, I was like, the abortion ban. Sure, you're like, you know what? This sounds great for everybody. Yes, but right. But unfortunately, there's going to be some exceptions. And I think the hardest thing to do in power, when you're the president, a director, a CEO, when you make a decision, you have to trim the fat. And who is the fat? And that has to be a very careful decision to make, because you're not going to make everyone happy. So you have to adjust, because you have to prepare for that. But then again, like, there has to be some exceptions for things. Things happen all the time.
You're so right. And you have to constantly think outside the box, like you said. Like you've said, I am so happy that I know that you're doing such great work. And I just want you to know that it's like you said, you're standing on a very solid foundation. This shit is going to grow. My grandmother says this to me. It has no choice. You are planting. So the earth, listen, the earth, whoever you believe is up there, the earth, the universe, whatever, your ancestors, they have no choice but to yield you a harvest, because you're not just wishing. You're not just wishing. And that's what I had to realize. I am not just wishing. You are doing the work every day. And my nephew said something to me yesterday. He said, Unc, you do this work when you don't want to. He said, that's how you know you're supposed to do it, when you don't feel like it. He said, you may not comb your hair one day, but I see you in that bed doing that stuff for that taxes. I see you doing that. He said, you may not have even brushed your teeth, but I see you going over this and going over that to make sure it's right. You have that's going to carry you. So listen, this was heavy. So now we need to switch. One magical weekend a week. Tell us about it, because we got heavy. We're friends. We can do this.
Stay right there. Let me get my charger.
Okay, one magical weekend. So tell us about it.
Perfect. One magical weekend. So I'm one of the ambassadors. One magical weekend is a big event. And it is the largest gay pool party in the state of Florida. It's amazing. It's usually the first weekend in June. Next year, it's actually going to cross between like the last weekend in May and the first weekend in June, because World Pride is going to be in DC the next weekend. So come to Orlando, party with us, and then do World Pride in the weekend after. But it's amazing. So they rent out. It's this huge party. The biggest event is they rent. Billy and Tom, they're the owners of it. They're just amazing. They're amazing men and very professional. Again, just they get it. Yeah. And so they rent out Disney's Typhoon Lagoon, and they have a nighttime pool party at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon. It's called Riptide.
And it's like
9 at night.
Oh, honey. Oh, I might have to take it, man.
It is a blast.
You know, I don't go out like this. I don't go out like this.
So, and then the next day they rent out House of Blues, and they have a big party there, like the red party. And so last year it was like Buccaneer themed. So, I dressed up like a pirate. And then they have parties at the hotel. So they have a host hotel, which is the Sheraton. They rent the whole hotel. The whole hotel is booked just for the gays. And then the party's in the center. So the pool's in the center. And so there's DJs just all day and all night. And then there's parties in the ballroom at night till like 8 in the morning. Honestly, it is like nonstop. And so one of my friends, so 2 years ago, I was actually just in a random clothing store. I was waiting for a friend. And I go into this clothing store, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to be a model?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, "No, come on." They're like, "I like your look." And I was like, "No." And so I went to go try them, because I went to like get some like swimsuits, and I tried it on. And I come out of the dressing room, and look in the mirror, and they're like, "Come on, we're here setting up pictures of this." And I was like, maybe. And so I go and like take a few photos with them, and it was like all scandalous, right? But they were like, we're the owners of One Magical Weekend. Here's our photographer, here's our team. Like, we're setting up this photo shoot because we are doing this sub event for it. And they're like, it's for the bears. It's called the Bear Jamboree. And I was like, well, I'm not a bear, but I'm an ally. Like, if I can do without my fingers touching, I hear that. So Google hairless bear. Some of my friends Google it. It's the funniest thing ever. My friends send it to me like at least once a month. I'm like, you guys are bitches. But anyway, so they created the Bear Jamboree, and then my first year doing it was 2 years ago, and they were like, just promote, we'll give you free tickets to the whole event. I was like, cool. And I had a blast, and I was promoting it, and I was like pouring hot dog water on me, and I was like, if you're a bear, come find me, you got to use the right bait. and so
hot dog water?
I was like, if you want to catch a bear, you got to use the right bait. And I like,
hot dog water.
And so I remember the owners like called me and like, Joe, can we talk to you about your social media? And the videos are still up. It's from 2022. Check it out. And I was like, what happened? And they're like, we love it. Can you do more? I was like, oh, say less. So last year they brought me back, and they were like, we want to do this thing where it's like a scout theme. And so we have the little scout hat and whatnot. Yes. And
It's so
so they're
good
like,
on you.
they were like, we want you to be like the scoutmaster. And I was like, cool. Now I should have a theme. I like throwing axes. So I created the little look, and I took pictures, and I was like, does this work? And so then all the workers at the event now wear that same outfit, and it's just a blast. So then they wanted to bring me back this year, and I was like, okay, but I need to be on all those posters.
Yes.
And I was like, I need to be on the ads. I need to be, and they were like, done. And so now what's happening is, so now only am I ambassador for the Bears, but I just had an email with them. They used to do, back in the day, it was like a national DJ tour. So like every weekend, some of the DJs that come and play for One Magical Weekend, they go to those cities, to the DJs bars, to the clubs and whatnot, and promote One Magical Weekend and just have a big party to get people interested and a buzz, and like make sure you book your hotel rooms, and tickets are selling out. And he was like, so the owners were like, would you be interested in like touring from like January to May, once or twice a month, to a city in the nation and promote it and promote these parties and clubs? And I was like, I would love to have a photographer with me so that we can actually show this event. We can tag people at this event. We can really like, it's more than just promoting, because I also feel like you want to show what's happening at the event. Like, this is us now live, guys. Like, I'm in VIP. Come get me. Right. Get me a drink. What's up? Give me a hug. And so, I mean, I've been booked for a bunch of Pride stuff as the Bear Ambassador, and I've just been having such a great time. And one of the things that I love about, even though there's a subsection for the Bears, the reality is it's so inclusive. And I think that's really cool about when you do Pride. And sometimes you get the pushback of like, well, why isn't there a straight event? And I was like, why? Well, because historically, I think from a hetero norm, from a hetero norm on a Caucasian side, it's very exclusive, right? Like, you can only get in if you look this way. You can only get in if this is your skin color. This is for, I think when it's a Pride event, like, there are so many shapes and ages and colors and hair and not hair and trimmed and, implants and not implants. And it's just, it's so beautiful. It represents a rainbow of people, and it's just wonderful. So I love doing the Pride events because it's so inclusive. Like, anybody can show up. Just come and have a good time.
Yeah. Thank you. So much for telling me.
Yeah.
Keep going. It sounded like you had some more to say.
No, that's it. So for those of you out there, if you have never heard of it, Google One Magical Weekend. It is wonderful. If you are enjoying the Bear parties, make sure you go to the Bear Jamboree. Follow me on my social media, but I can't wait to see some of you guys January through May at your host clubs around this nation. We're hoping Atlanta, Chicago, Boston, Dallas, DC, San Diego, Los Angeles. Like, let's go have a blast.
New York.
Let's promote New York, and let's promote One Magical Weekend and check it out. Come to Orlando and party with us.
Oh my God. I am so proud of you.
It's a lot. Last year, I remember the guy who I was talking to, I got him a job as the photographer there. And it was the first night, I think it was like 4:30 in the morning. And we're like in the hotel room eating like Denny's. And he's like, I'm tired. I'm like, this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. We still got 3 more days of this. And I remember the last night, I was so tired. And I was like, as I always do to him, because I care about him so much. And I was like, text me when you get home. And he's like, okay. And I remember I got a text message at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And he's like, I just got home. And I was like, oh. He's like, we stayed until it closed at 8 o'clock. And then I think we went to eat. And now I'm exhausted. I swear he slept for like 24 hours. It was the funniest thing. He was like total dead. It was the funniest thing. But we partied hard.
You know what I like? I like that we're wrapping up with this because you said it in the beginning. People should wear multiple hats.
Yeah.
You have that serious side to you. But then there's this joyful side. What's your birth sign?
I'm a Gemini.
That's why. My brother's a Gemini. Air signs. I'm a Libra, so we're air signs. I feel that. Like we get each other. That's very intelligent, very, very magical people. That's why I am so thank you so much for today. I needed this. I mean, these are conversations because that was an exclusive. I shared some shit I ain't never talked about.
Sure was.
Even you were sitting there like, ooh, do I need to do a therapy session here?
Yeah. Stop the cameras.
Hold on. I almost lost it, but I found it again. I pulled it back together. I'm a professional. But I just thank you so much for coming. Now, get this. We have to do this again. Like we have to, because I would love to get you while you're touring. I would love to get you.
Like to do it.
You're gonna be busy though. Yes, but I'm thinking. Yes, I would love to get you. I really would. Like if you let me know we're going this date, this is that and the other. I have and get it.
Wait.
It doesn't have to be an hour.
I want to record this real quick so I can say it to the owners.
Okay.
What's up, guys? I'm here with the Queen of Shade. I'm doing a podcast interview. And we are promoting One Magical Weekend. And I'm just really excited. And we're excited for this, hopefully, this national city tour. And we're going to promote it. And she wants to do a live podcast, too, while we're promoting in multiple cities.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
No, I'm saying because it doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 30 minutes. It can be 20 minutes because you're going to be busy. You're going to be on the ground. But to get some footage and be able to get it out there, I would love to be a part. Plus, you're my friend. I would love to be a part. Yes.
That'd be so cool.
No, I really am so thankful. So get this. Season 1, I did give me 3 words that inspire and empower you. Season 2 is different. We've already heard it. Though. We've already heard it, but I know I heard it. I already heard it, but I'm going to ask again. Season 2 is make a wish. Say it out loud. Let it be atmosphere and return to you. So now he's going to be like, I don't believe in wishes.
No, I have a tattoo on me of 4 feathers, and 3 of them is it's on my leg. It's 3 things that I wish for every time I blow out a candle, everything. And I don't believe in keeping it a secret because I believe you have to put it out there. So I always say the same thing: peace, love, and happiness. Yes. If I could wish for anything to have for the rest of my life, it would be peace, love, and happiness.
Yes. And that 4th feather, is there a 4th feather there?
There is. It is actually, my friend Cynthia, she had a feather created, and there's 49 quills representing the 49 people dead from the Pulse shooting here in Orlando. Oh. And I thought it was the most beautiful thing that I was like, can I do the same thing? So we're like tattoo twins. Here, hold on, let me stand up.
Show us. Yeah, show us. Yes, so, leg. Look at that. Look at that leg. Go, Joe. Yes. Look at that muscles. Oh yeah, that looks great, Joe. We're totally looking at the tattoo.
And then this is the
yes, boy. We're totally looking at that tattoo. That tattoo is killer. Yeah, we're looking at that tattoo. You can't take us nowhere.
Yes.
That leg out there. No. Thank you so much for coming today because we have to do this again. Like, it's so amazing, and I can't wait to see you again. And
once hopefully everything works out with the One Magical Weekend City tours, and I would love to just schedule like, hey, this is where I'm going to be on this day, this time, because I'll know in advance, and then we can plan like where I have to be, and then even if we do it in the hotel room, I'm like, hey,
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking. Do it in the hotel room. I'm in this city, and this is what we're doing, and this is our itinerary for tonight. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
Yeah, don't go away. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the vocal stylings of Mr. Joe Adorno. Don't go away. So did you enjoy? Was the conversation everything you thought it would be? It was for me. I love catching up with my friends. It was absolutely amazing. So if you thought it was amazing, please continue to watch, comment, like, and share. And most of all, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I love you, and I do this for you. Good, wholesome content about self-love, self-confidence, and self-healing. The Queen of Shade loves you all. Remember my name, the Queen of Shade. Mwah.
You could have more of me, but I'm questioning your loyalty. But you know my love is never free. Little boy, come get your daddy, please. And I wish you could have more of me, but I'm questioning your loyalty. But you know my love is never free. Little boy, come get your daddy, please. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. I'm gonna get you, boy. I'm not the only one. about you, boy.
Please subscribe to the Queen of Shades YouTube today for over 1,000 original videos created by the Queen herself. Subscribe today.
Turn that TV down.